Guys, so today is 4th of July. Happy 4th. And we're going to our friend's house, so I'm bringing two dishes. I'm bringing pasta salad, the Italian pasta salad, which I've done before. I think I did it with gluten-free pasta. This time I'm not doing it with gluten-free pasta. So I'll link that video below. And I'm also bringing, we call it Mom's Baked Beans. My mother-in-law made this for us whenever we had a barbecue in the summer. And it's more of a chili, but she called it baked beans. And it's weird because we went to a barbecue. In fact, the video that I made of my pasta salad, we were going to a barbecue here in Tennessee. And when we went, they had that recipe. Someone made that dish, and it was like, oh my God, that's Mom's baked beans. So obviously it's a recipe that's going around. It's not just hers. Don't know where she got it from, but you do have to cook like a pound of bacon. So I got this cooking up, and a pound of ground beef. So this is the ground beef that I made from my Costco haul, and then I separated them all into freezer bags. So the beef is already done, but now I'm getting the bacon going. And then of course you're going to be adding a lot of beans and sauces. So it's a good recipe. Very heavy, definitely not health conscious, but it's good. So the bacon is done, and then I'm going to cut it up into pieces. Now I have the ground beef in here, just kind of thawing. And then it says to add diced onion. So dicing a onion. I don't think I'm going to use all of that. That was a pretty big one. So I'm going to throw the onion in there and then get all my other ingredients out. Here is the recipe I wrote down. 1 pound of hamburger and bacon, chopped and browned in a skillet. Add 1 diced onion, teaspoon of salt, 4 tablespoons of mustard, 1/2 cup ketchup, 4 tablespoons of molasses, 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce, a teaspoon of chili powder, 3/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then this is where I went wrong. I bought 1 can each. 1 can of red kidney, 2 cans of red kidney beans, 2 cans of pork and beans, and 2 cans of butter beans. The pork and beans are not drained. These 2 are drained. So I bought 1 can, but the can that came, the pork and beans, is a huge can. So I actually do have kind of like 2 cans of that. But I do have white beans. So I'm just going to throw white beans in there too, to fill in the gap of the beans. Yeah, and I'll see what other beans I have. I have stuff. So it's going to have, 4 different kind of beans instead. And then you bake for 1 hour at 350 when it's all together. Nice. Oops, close up. Okay, so the meat is not frozen anymore. And I chopped up all of this bacon. So I'm going to put that back in. I'm surprised it even asks for salt because bacon is very salty. But it doesn't ask for a lot of salt. So it was 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I got to put that in. There we go. Which, just going to put a little pinch. I don't think it needs it. And then I have to grind the pepper. So let me do that. So I put some pepper in it, but it's weird because the bacon that they gave me, it had pepper on the bottom. So I didn't measure 3/4 teaspoon because you know me, I'm not going to measure. Then it asks for, let me get the recipe. Oh, okay. So I thought I was filming. I wasn't filming. 1/2 cup of ketchup. I started it. And of course, I'm not going to be measuring. All right, let me do this with 2 hands. Okay. So I did about half a cup of ketchup, about half a cup of barbecue sauce, 4 tablespoons of mustard, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it asks for molasses. What do you do with molasses after this? I only need like, how many? I only need 4 tablespoons of molasses. Oh, and I got to get the chili powder out. So the molasses is in that corner. 4 tablespoons. Teaspoon of chili powder. Just gonna sprinkle it in. And then the beans. So there are my beans. Look at the size of this thing. I did a Kroger pickup and I realized after, I didn't look at the ounces of the can when I went to order it, just pork and beans. So this is probably like 3 or 4 cans. So obviously I'm not going to use the whole thing and I'll freeze the rest. And then because I effed up and didn't buy 2 cans or whatever, I'm going to add some white beans to it that I made from dry, and I freeze them. So I'm going to throw that in there, stir it all, and then I have my oven preheating to 350. And guess what? It's so weird. My oven now is like working at regular temperatures. It's been shutting off recently with the -5 degrees that I've been using for like over a year. Now at 350 or 375, it's staying on, and it's shutting off at 370 or 345. Go figure. What the? There it is. So the butter beans you drain, kidney beans you drain, pork and beans you do not drain. And you mix it, mix it, mix it. Yeah, I don't know where she got this recipe from, but John loved it because of all the meat. He's like, Tamara, you should just make this. It's not even a side, it's a main dish. And I would make it with like a potato salad. And so I have not made, oops, we've been here in Tennessee for 5 years and I have not made it since we moved here. You know, you just forget about recipes. So, and even though we came across it almost 2 years ago at a barbecue, like, whoa, those are mom's, you know, baked beans. And of course, John had a huge filling of that. That's still frozen. I still haven't made it. So something I got to bring back. Of course, it has a lot of beans, so the boys are all picky about it. But it is a very good dish. Yeah, and sometimes I would make it with the yellow squash casserole on the side as well. That I'm going to have to bring back this summer because I have a lot of yellow squash growing in my backyard. So I'm going to mix that up the best that I could. I'm going to put it in this tray, cover it with aluminum foil, and then it bakes at 350 for 1 hour. It hasn't gone in the oven yet, but that's what it's going to look like when it comes out. Oof. I'm just going to have to stir it a little more when I take it out and bring it over to our friend's house because the white beans are still a little frozen and clumped together. But that's pretty much what it's going to look like. So it's a heavy dish, and I'm pretty sure we're going to come home with a whole bunch of it. For the pasta salad, I'm putting all sorts of Italian things in there. I'm using the kale radiatori from my CSA. I have some sun-dried tomatoes. This is like a little bit left. I'm going to throw that in there. Here's a big jar of them. Oh no, that I'm bringing. The pickled radishes I'm bringing with us because they're good on burgers. Red roasted peppers, artichoke hearts. I'm going to saute some onions and mushroom together and throw that in there. I'm going to pick some arugula from the yard and throw that in there at the end. And pepperoni. I have little mozzarella balls and pepperoni. I'm going to throw that in there as well. Maybe some salami. All sorts of Italian stuff with a nice dressing. I'm not sure if I'm going to make the basil vinaigrette because I don't think I have enough basil to make that vinaigrette, but I'm going to see what I have. If not, it's just going to be like an Italian vinaigrette with some Italian seasonings and oil and vinegar. So that's the pasta salad. My pasta is done. The onions and mushrooms are cooking together. Just a little bit of salt. I'm going to dump them in. I wasn't sure how many peppers to chop, but I'm going to start chopping them and throwing those in. See, I only have a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes. Going to throw that in. Don't know if I need more. You know how you think you need more, and then all of a sudden when it's all together, it's like, ooh, too much. So I'm going to do a little at a time. Chop some of these. Chop some pepperoni. Got my mozzarella balls, and then see if it needs any more fillings. Okay. So I added artichoke hearts, the peppers so far, sun-dried tomatoes, the mushrooms, and the onions. I'm going to start tossing it. This is a salad that's probably good, hot or cold, or room temperature. But this isn't all the ingredients yet. That is a lot of pasta. I'm not going to put the fresh mozzarella in because then it's going to melt. But let me chop up some salami. And sometimes I'll put tomatoes or and zucchini, but one of our friends has diverticulitis, so she avoids things with seeds in that. So I'm not going to put that in. Yeah, it needs more stuff. So I added the rest of the red roasted peppers and the rest of the artichoke hearts. And then now I'm chopping up some pepperoni. I was going to do salami too, but we like the salami for the sandwiches and I don't have as much left. So we do have a lot of pepperoni. The only pepperoni we use it for pizza. And John eats it on pizza. He's the only one that eats it. Sometimes Sean. So I'm adding the pepperoni. And like I said, I'm going to add the mozzarella last when it's nice and cold. Okay. So I am going to make that basil dressing, but instead of basil, I think I'm going to use my Costco pesto. And then I do have a couple of leaves that I can pick and garnish it on top with the basil. But I'm going to do this basil vinaigrette with the pesto. So there it is. I tried it. And because of the Parmesan cheese, there's that Parmesan cheese taste to it. But it's really good because the apple cider vinegar, the honey, and the extra oil kind of lighten the pesto. So it's not as strong. I'm not going to need to put that whole thing in there. So there'll be extra. That's also good on salad. So it's nice and cooled down. It's not cold. I mean, if I had time, I could throw it in the refrigerator, but it's still good at room temperature. But I bought these fresh mozzarella pearls from Kroger supermarket. So I'm going to throw those in there and put this in a nicer bowl. So then I can I'm going to see how much arugula I have in the backyard. Throw some arugula in there. And the beans are done. So I'm just leaving them in there for now. That's it. Party's ready to start. Look at that. They look like little mini marshmallows, but I tried the pasta. Oh my God, it's good. This is a good dish to bring with you to a party. So, still got to get the arugula, but everything's done. Now you got to get dressed too. There is arugula. I didn't have a lot. So there was a lot of baby arugula. And I have this nice bowl that has a lid. Got this from Costco years ago. My husband's uncle had bought the set. And I'm like, ooh, I like these. The Melame or something like that. And so I got a set for myself. Basil plants are doing well, but I don't have a lot to spare. So I picked and washed some leaves. And I'm just going to julienne them, but with scissors. As garnish, and we're done. Just got to get dressed. Just wanted to show you what everything looks like. We're bringing about like 25 pounds of food. I don't even think there's that many people there. and the pasta salad. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Enjoy. Be safe.